What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Crafters. I'm David Wilson, and we're back again with another stream where I work on some cool code. I guess it will be cool. I hope it will be cool. And we have a good time just chatting about whatever we're working on today. I apologize for the lateness. I was just notified that my youngest daughter's school has an outbreak. I don't know. They have a case of COVID. So I had to wait to start the stream to make sure that I didn't have to go pick her up from school. But it sounds like the kid who had COVID hasn't been there for a few days, so maybe it's okay. So we're gonna continue forward with the stream and see what we can do today. If you're here in the chat, just say hello. Let me know you're here so I can say hello to you as well. I know I saw Purple G in the live chat channel a moment ago. Let me get the chat up here. Hey, Peter. Not really surprised. I mean, it's a new thing I'm doing. I started doing last week. I'll be streaming on Monday and Wednesday mornings, Europe time, to do some live coding. Should be fun. Let's see if I can get the live chat up on the screen. But yeah, these streams are a bit more laid back than the usual Friday stream. Well, yeah, you were surprised. Yeah, I guess I was surprised too, because I wake up this morning. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do a stream today. So yeah, no, the idea is just to have like more dedicated time to work on a project, because on the Friday streams, we don't really have time to like really dig into a longer term project and work on some code. So I wanted to try to address that a little bit by having a couple extra streams per week that are focused on working on projects that would be interesting to the people who watch this channel. You know, we're working on a new web development project with Guile Scheme right now. So I hope that a few of you will be interested to kind of follow along with the progression here. And we'll talk about sort of where we are with the project and what we're going to do today in just a little bit. Hello to Erky. Nice to see you. Yeah, the weather here is terrible today. It's awful. It's just like constantly raining. It's been raining since last night, which is sad because it was excellent the last few days. Like yesterday, it was super warm. Previous day before that, I think it was pretty nice. But yeah, now we're getting Greek winter, which is basically rain and then maybe a little dovetail into some snow, which I'm not really thrilled about, but that's fine. I mean, it's a rainy day. It's a good day for some programming and some live coding, right? Can't even hear the music anymore. But maybe it's just in between tracks. All right. Let me see how I want to approach this. Oh yeah, the other thing I want to mention for those of you who haven't been to one of these streams yet, part of the reason why I'm doing these streams is so I can try to record videos as a part of what we're doing here. So I might do things a little bit differently than I normally do on Friday streams, where I'll try to like, you know, stop and possibly explain things a little bit better than I normally would. Because the idea would be to put it into a video. So that's just something to keep in mind whenever I might be seeming a little bit weird at any moment. Because I'm trying to come up with what I'm going to say so I can edit it into a video. Let me see. Trying to get a new note created here. Stream notes. What day is today? Jan 13, 2025. Okay. Okay. Erky says, not unmovable ice over snow sleet at least. Yeah, that does not sound good. I would really not be happy if I had to deal with that right now. So I'm not... My condolences to you, Erky. They have to deal with this kind of weather. Peter says, any day is a good day for programming. Just depends on where to do said act. Yes, that's true. At least I'm in a warm, dry house at the moment. And Peter has a beautiful sunrise, which is great. Hello to Insane Tux on the YouTube side. All right. Hello to T. So let me just jump back over here on this page. So last week we started a new project called emacspackages.com. The point of this project is to provide a website that is kind of an index of all available Emacs packages across the various different package repositories like the GNU and non-GNU ELPA repos, Melpa and Melpa stable, and other places like maybe Geeks, etc. It's not really meant to be like some, big effort in the Emacs community or something, but it is something that might be an interesting and useful resource to people, because the idea is to make it so that people can share what packages they use in their configuration, and also share example configurations of packages, so that there's like one site where you can go look at a bunch of example configs for Vertigo or other packages that go along with Vertigo. So there's some various different ways we can make this a pretty useful resource for the Emacs community at large. But the real goal is to have a real world example of a Guile scheme web application that is deployed with Geeks and uses a database, maybe uses some other things, like we could use like a caching layer or like Redis or something at some point in the future. I mean, like, we're going to start simple, but eventually we might add things like that. And just to sort of give an example of how somebody would actually go about writing a real application with Scheme, because there isn't really much out there in the way of tutorials or guidance on how to write apps with Scheme. And since Guile Scheme is one of the more practical, or practical. Let's say it's a practical Scheme implementation. We're going to use that obviously because we use it a lot in this channel, but it will be a good way to show how one might go about writing such an application. And since we're going to have more time to devote to this, we're going to see, basically the application from its genesis, from the beginning, up until we have to start dealing with the poor choices that I made for, certain code patterns, and I have to rewrite things. So it will be a good example, I think, for how someone might write and maintain an application in Scheme. Later, we'll probably try to do some comparisons with other languages. Like, for instance, I would like to rewrite the same app in Common Lisp at some point, so we can compare what they both look like. Now, I would have to think about how to write it idiomatically in Common Lisp, but I don't basically just port the same code over to Common Lisp without really using the unique features of Common Lisp. But that'll be something fun to do anyway, because I haven't really used Common Lisp in any non-trivial way in a while. So that should be a pretty fun experiment once we get around to doing that. But yeah, it's a good project. I think it'll be fun. It has some utility. People may actually go use it, which is good, because you'll see real traffic on the website, and we may have to respond to certain, bugs or performance issues, etc. So I think it's a way to approach having a real world project. Peter says there are also lots of packages in GitHub which are not yet in one of the repos that would be useful to make them more discoverable. Maybe a nice to have. Yeah, GitHub is also a goal. Like, I want to make it so that people can register their package repository if it's not in one of the other repos, so that those can show up there as well. So it should be a place where you can find any commonly used packages that people have in their Emacs configurations, no matter whether they come from a package repository like ELPA, or if they come from a GitHub repository. So you can find the code for this project on codeberg.org/systemcrafters/emacsPackages.com. And last time what we did was to basically get the basic HTTP server started. We used Guile Fibers as a way to have a more performant and concurrency-friendly web server backend. And I'm going to release a video about that probably in a day or two, because I've already got it edited. I just need to finish the thumbnail and whatnot. But that will give you the overview of what we did with Fibers last time, or at least the explanation I gave for Fibers last time. And I should also mention, for the people who are watching for the first time today, if you're here watching the stream, that's great. You probably won't need to watch the recording later. I don't really intend for people to go watch the recordings of these streams unless they really want to. My goal is to actually cut up videos from what we do here and make an actual sort of report video of what we're working on and any other interesting things we discuss, so that people don't have to go watch a 2.5 hour live stream recording after the fact. So if you're here, it's great. Please ask questions, because I also get value out of that. I make little shorts out of the questions. But yeah, you don't have to feel like you have to be here the whole time or watch the recording, because I'll be making shorter videos that sort of sum up what we've been doing here. or at least, you know, take the content from the stream and then turn it into a video. Let's see. Let me get into the actual code for the project. So yeah, last time what we did was we got the basic HTTP server set up. We have some really basic handlers for getting a listing of the packages that are known by the website and the detail about a specific package. So it's basically like, you know, the listing of the packages and the reading of the details of an individual package. I'll run it in a minute. We'll take a look at what that looks like. But we have some basic templating with SXML. So we're generating our web pages with SXML. And we've got some basic record types for at least packages here, just to have a basic data source to use for now. But we'll change that in a minute. We just wanted to sort of have something that we can show on the web page before we start working on the actual database integration. So let me see if I can run it and show you what we've got going on so far in here. So let me run that. Oh, manifest.scm. Okay, yeah, I'm in the wrong folder. I think I was running this in ANSI term also because we had a little bit of trouble with that last time. So let me just try. No, not that. So geeks, hello. Geek shell-m manifest.scm guile source main.scm. Okay. Oops. Okay, I think it should be running already. And I think it's localhost 8080. There we go. Welcome to emacsPackages.com. So this is a basic index page we've got generating from SXML. And then we've got a package listing that shows you the list of sort of, you know, fake packages I've generated so far in the back end. We can click on package 3 to get details for package 3. So super, super simple. Nothing really that special yet, but the idea is just to get something off the ground that we can work on and to build something up that would be, you know, reasonable for the project. So today, what I would like to do is hook up a basic SQLite database to the website so that we can have some basic CRUD operations. Trying to think of the best way to describe this. Because, you know, here comes like the whole content brain thing. Give me 1 second. So yeah, what I was saying is that we're going to try to get the basic database operations set up today. And I described that as CRUD operations. So what are CRUD operations whenever it comes to a database? Well, there are 4 standard operations that you would need for any kind of data type or model in your application. There's a create, there's a read, there's an update, and delete. So create is whenever you create a new instance of whatever that object is. So in our case, we have like the concept of a package. So you would want to create a new row in the database for the package itself. There's also read, when you want to read details back. You're either reading a listing of objects back or you're reading the details of a specific object back. Maybe you're using query strings or something, some query parameters. Update is when you want to change an object, maybe to modify some field that needs to be changed by the user at some point. And then there's delete when you want to delete the object. And whenever you have a web application or really any other kind of application, these are the most standard operations that you would do to one of the data types. So a user on this website should be able to, or somehow, maybe not directly, maybe indirectly somehow when we get it set up, to create an instance of a package, read them all, whatever packages are available or you know, registered to the website, to update them if there's some reason to update them, and also to delete them if maybe the package is no longer available or something like that. So this is what I mean when I say CRUD operations: create, read, update, delete. And it's a pretty common thing you see in database layers. So there are often libraries that you would use to map objects in your language, like a class in your language, to tables in a database. We're not really going to use anything like that in for our purposes, at least not yet. I don't really know if there is anything like that for Scheme. Maybe there is. Maybe there is for the GNU Artanis project, which we haven't really looked at. But since there's not anything already like that, and since I tend to prefer to start things simple and like kind of do it from scratch first, and then decide if we need some more complicated library later, we're just going to start with a basic interface to the database for our purposes today, and just run SQL queries directly using a library that is available for Guile Scheme. I believe the one we're going to use is called Guile DBI. So if you search for Guile-DBI, this is a library that gives you the ability to interface with multiple different database engines. SQLite is one of them, obviously, but there's also MySQL and PostgreSQL, or PostgreSQL. I don't know how you pronounce that. The point of using this library is that I want to have a little bit of flexibility to change from SQLite to Postgres later if I want to. So I think this is going to be a better approach than using the Guile SQLite 3 library, which is also available. So we're going to start with this, and if it doesn't work out so well, we might switch to Guile SQLite 3, but I assume this will work okay. It seems pretty simple. It basically just establishes a connection to a database for you, and then lets you just run normal SQL queries. So if we were to look at this example right here, you pull in the module, you establish a connection to a SQLite 3 database, then you can just run queries, DBI query with a database object. You just tell it, create table, whatever you want, whatever columns you want, and then you can insert things into the database. You can run select queries, etc. And I think what it does whenever you run a query is that it returns back an A list of the rows of the table. Each pair is one of the columns in the database table. So it should be pretty easy for us to interface with that and get the information back from the database in the way that we need it to be. So Peter's saying it's more repository or store operations. I think the CRUD app refers to the app that is just a thin veneer over a repository component. Yeah, that is a more accurate way to put it, that's for sure. I'm noticing that my head is being chopped off half the time in the video, which is awesome. Okay, so let's see. What's the best way to get going with this? So the idea that I have in mind for how to organize the code for this is instead of trying to invent some kind of layer above that abstracts away the mapping between the record types that I have, which the record types may be a moot point at this point. We'll see if we still need the record types as we move forward, but instead of trying to come up with a mapping between a scheme record type and a database type table, what I'm going to try to do is create specific procedures that do the operations that I need, so that if I wanted to change the name of a package, I would run a package name set procedure, and that would actually change the name of the package in the database. Now, there's obviously some places where you might want to change multiple fields at the same time. I would say that it's possible that if you do that, there's probably a reason for doing that. Like maybe there's some concept or some action that the user is trying to take that would necessitate updating multiple fields simultaneously. So I would have a specific procedure for that. But since I don't really have a clear understanding yet until I start getting into the code of how it looks, we're just going to kind of take it one step at a time and see where we get with that. Peter says it might be useful to have the queries in a data file and create the operations dynamically in some component. That might reduce duplication. I expect there to be quite a lot of SQL queries, maybe a refactor to think of down the line. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about using sort of like pre-canned queries and not just do things manually every time, but we'll have to take a look at how it goes. We're going to go really simple at first, and then we're going to try to add some of this stuff later. Or let's say improve the design of everything later. Okay. So the most important thing first would be to get the database set up. And to do that, we need to have the Guile DBI package added to our dependencies. This is a part of Geeks, so we have that available. One thing I need to check, though, is whether Guile DBI pulls in SQLite itself, or if I have to have it pulled in separately. So Guile DBI. All right. So as far as dependencies are concerned, I do not see SQLite here. So I'm interested to see how it would actually... Oh, you know what? This may only be for Guile 2. And if it's only for Guile 2, then we really do have a problem there. I feel like there was another one. Let me go check the Guile Scheme Libraries site, because I think there's more listings of things that are there. We might find something else that works. How about this Postgres? Yeah, so this tells us that Guile DBI is only for Guile 2.2, which is not good because we're using Guile 3. Okay, so there's Guile SQI for PostgreSQL. Okay, so it looks like we may have to use Guile SQLite 3 for now. And it might be the case that we don't have to switch to PostgreSQL until way later, so we might have to rewrite anyway. Obviously, something like that kind of begs for a switchable backend, which would allow us to have two different database driver implementations for what we need, but I don't want to do that just yet. I don't like creating abstraction layers unless they're absolutely necessary, so we're just going to stick with using something simple at first. So it looks like we are going to use Guile SQLite 3 instead, and that's fine. Let's see, this one pulls in SQLite. Yeah, this one actually does pull in SQLite, so at least we have that. Okay, so let's look up the docs for Guile SQLite 3 then. I feel like I had trouble getting to the docs for this. Like the not a bug site was not loading this morning. Okay, so it looks like it loads fine now. And where is the manual? Is there like an info file or something? I know that it has tests, which we can look at. I feel like I saw an actual website for this. Maybe it was on this website, this Alto software site. Nope. Gentoo claims it's built against Guile 3. Well, definitely not what I'm seeing in the Geeks package. So it may just be a Geeks package issue. I don't know. Oh, what did I just see there? Guile DBI. I did see that there were multiple DBD? What is this? Oh, okay, that's a driver for... Because it propagates Guile 2, which seems kind of weird to me unless it's only using Guile 2. So, yeah, okay, we would have had to install this DBD SQLite 3, but okay. It looks like that's not going to work for us right now. All right, so I think that we're just going to have to go with the tests to see how to use this library, which is okay. Not a big deal. So we've got the library added to the manifest file, but what we need to do now is to install it, which we can do just by running the Geek shell again. Okay, I think it must be running. I need to put something in there so we know whenever the site starts up. So let me just do that right here. So right here. Let's run that again just to see. There we go. Oh, let's put a new line in. I'll also drop another new line in at the beginning here. I know you see me using my mouse. I always feel so ashamed using my mouse. Jazzy says, some time ago I was experimenting with GalDBI. It's adding to the Gal3's load path and let me use it with Gal3. Yeah, it seems still kind of hacky. Maybe we'll do that another time and see if we can make it work. Okay, so now we've got the library pulled in. One thing that might be nice also, which I probably should do, is set up a REPL server. Because we want to be able to evaluate forms in the running session so we can reevaluate things while everything's running. Let me see if I have that in my Live Crafter chat backend code, REPL. Okay, co-op server. That's in the IRC thread. So I have a separate thread. Let me check the Fibers website. So Guile Fibers. There's something about REPL in the wiki. Yeah, that's just REPL commands. Let me see if I can find anything relating to how to set up a co-op REPL, or let's look for co-op. No, what was it called? Co-op server. Nothing in there. So the idea behind the co-op server is that you should be able to establish a REPL and poll it whenever there's some time to poll the REPL. So I wonder if there's like a timer I can use to poll the REPL. Let me see. If I go back to the wiki. What was that? Okay. Timers. I can't navigate in this page. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Sleep. Make an operation that will succeed with no values when seconds have elapsed. So, since fibers, in this case, in theory, are running in a single thread, at least by default, I think, we should be able to have an operation that sleeps and then polls the REPL in tandem with the listener for the web backend. So if we define a REPL server, we should be able to run that also in its own fiber. So we have run server here. I kind of wonder if I can run that in a fiber, or if run server does its own fiber. I would need to look at the definition. So fibers, I think it's like HTTP web. There it is. Server. And let's see, run. It says run server, run server. Okay, so there is a Lambda here, run fibers, spawn fiber. Wait finished. All right, so there's a fiber being spawned. I might... So, I don't know if you can run fibers more than once. Yeah, because you're creating two different fiber schedulers if you do it more than once. So you kind of need to somehow... So hold on. Run fibers and wait finish. So if what is finish in this case? Make condition. Okay. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous because you kind of need another way to inject something in here. Well, I mean, what you can do is the first time the handler gets invoked, you can check to see if there's a running REPL server and then start one. But that kind of seems a little bit dirty. But I don't know if there's a better way to do it unless you just sort of run your own version of this run server procedure. If you create your own version of this run server procedure, which I really don't want to do. I'd rather let Fibers do its job with its backend. So probably that's the best way to do it, which means that you can't really start evaluating expressions until you make a first request to the server, but maybe that's not so bad. Okay, so what we'll do is define the REPL server. We're going to spawn that co-op REPL server. Let me go check my other code here. REPL server, and that's pretty much it. You just pull the REPL server at some interval. So what I can do is start the REPL server. Hey, Foskers. Start the REPL server if it isn't started already. So in this case, spawn fiber. I'm pretty sure that was the stuff for that. Spawn fiber with a thunk, lambda, and set REPL server, spawn co-op REPL server. I know I need to go delete that stuff up above. That's okay. And then I think we just need like an infinite loop here. So we'll run it first, and then we'll set a timer. Look at the documentation. I am definitely hacking some scheme. All right, so conditions. See timers. Will it go to the section? No, it will not go to the section. It refuses to go to the section. Timers. Here we go. Fibers, timers. Oh, no chat overlay. Thank you, Foskers, for letting me know. That's a problem. Should be working now. All right, so we're going to add fibers timer here. I know, I'm kind of like nerd sniping myself a little bit. I shouldn't have. Did it work? Oh, no. You know what? I never started the chat, did I? Okay, try it again. It should work now. There it is. Thanks, Foskers. Peter says, I thought the co-op REPL server was made to run in the same thread as the rest of the app. If you use a fiber, can't we use another variant as it blocks without it can block without issues? The problem here is that you have to pull the REPL socket. So you can't just start a REPL because the REPL will block because it's reading from standard in, a normal REPL. So you have to use the co-op REPL server and you have to poll it at some interval, and we have to come up with a way to poll it. So I'm trying to just come up with a timer situation here. Basically sleep. Block the calling fiber or kernel thread until seconds have elapsed. So here I'm just going to say sleep for 1 second, because that should be long enough, I think. So unless REPL server. Let me just... Oh, shit. That was fun. I just killed my whole terminal. That's what happens whenever you have your key binding set up in a weird way where it's very easy to just hit Control-Shift-Q instead of Control-Alt-Q because you're trying to indent some expression. It's real fun. Okay, so unless REPL server, which I need to go set this to false here. Okay, so unless REPL server, spawn fiber, we're setting the REPL server to the spawn co-op REPL server, we're looping, and then we're sleeping. Hopefully that should be enough, so we can try to run this again and see what happens. Let me just drag that down a bit. Oops. No code for module fibers timers. Okay, so it needs to be timers. All right, so now we should be able to, if I can hit Alt X, Geyser connect. I think it's some weird port like 39173. No. Whoops. Okay, that was the one. All right. Let's do that one more time. Localhost and then 37146. Ah. Connection refused. Oh, goodness. Thanks, Jadzi. No code is seen. What did I do? Ah, you know what I did? That sucks. Fantastic. Yep, I got it. Thanks, folks, for letting me know. Capability Snap says, I recently discovered that Control-Alt-Q quits QEMU immediately without asking. Guess how I learned that one? Yes, these are things that you end up running into sometimes, which is not really that fun. All right. So I tried setting up a timer here. And I think it probably works, but it's not actually, the REPL server is not actually being spawned as far as I can tell, or if it is, it's not at the port that I expect it to be. So let's check the Guile documentation, Guile co-op REPL server, and see if I need to do any special configuration on that. What's the default port, I wonder? So spawn co-op REPL server, server socket, create and return a new REPL server object on server socket. I don't think I ever had to do that myself. Ordinary REPL servers run in their own thread. Sometimes more convenient to provide REPLs that run at specified times within an existing thread. In programs utilizing an event loop or single-threaded programs. I guess we could do multiple threads. Maybe that's what Peter was trying to tell me. We can use the listen switch, so we don't necessarily have to have our own server running. Okay. I don't think I ever had to create one of those before, though. Huh. Connect local. Oh, socket file name. You could do that. But maybe I should try the other way. So, I mean, okay. I guess we could try it a little bit more simply. Maybe I don't need the REPL server aspect in a literal way. So let's just try this real quick. I just want to see if we can reevaluate some code. I'm wasting time here doing something that I shouldn't have started doing because it's not really needed for what we're doing. I just thought, oh, it'd be nice to have the REPL set up in the process, but that's what happens, right? Okay, so got my ANSI term. I can use -- listen. And what was the common port for that? 37146. All right, so now if I run Geyser Connect, still doesn't let me. Maybe I did it wrong. Guile -- help. Listen equals port. Okay. Default is 37146. So I should have just been able to do this. I feel like that's the problem, though. I think that you can't do that. And that's why the cooperative REPL thing might be needed, but it didn't work before either, did it? That doesn't work either. 37146. Spawn co-op REPL server. If we go back to the previous, oh, it's right here. Wait a sec. What did I just see there? Was that a blog post? There we go. So Dave wrote a post about it at some point. Hey, Keegan Zoot. Given address, and port number, port. Am I connecting the wrong place? Is that what's happening? Couldn't start Geyser. Yeah, I think Fibers is pretty cool. It's just we gotta get off the ground here. Let's say it's like really strange just doing this. Oops. I never wrote a message saying that I got started though, so let's try that too. Make sure that I'm not being a complete idiot. Use display. Oh. Yes, I am an idiot. And the reason why is because I had said this before, but then I didn't go do it, which is you need to go make a request to the site first. And then the REPL server will be started. Unbound variable, spawn fiber. Got it. Okay, so where is spawn fiber? Where is this defined? Fibers. Okay, regular, just plain old fibers. This is why. Okay, so now, okay, unbound variable spawn co-op REPL server. Yep, that makes sense because I didn't actually import that module yet. So that is in system REPL co-op server. Cool, now we're making some progress. Drop that right there. Okay. All right, and then go back to the main page. Now it seems to be working. Let's use Geyser Connect, localhost. Cool, so now we have a REPL. Since it's not actually printing anything, my theory is that it hasn't actually connected fully. Or it's not active. Yeah, it's not active yet. The polling is not working, which is also very strange. Ah, because I'm a dummy. Loop. Yes. It's necessary to actually loop. Let's kill that, because it's a bad REPL. Now, Geyser Connect. Ah, because I have not actually reloaded again. This is going to be a real pain. There must be a way to deal with that problem. All right, so now I've got that up. Let's run the REPL again. Oh, it's hanging Emacs completely. Okay, so it does work. That 1 second sleep is kind of slow, though. Feels a little bit slow. All right. Okay. So I'm going to take a couple minute break here, and I'll be right back, and we'll get right back to it. All right? I'll be right back. All right. So yeah, wasted a good bit of time on trying to get this REPL working. It is working. I'm going to bump the sleep time down to 0.2 seconds, just so that it's a bit more responsive, because right now it's not very responsive. So let's just try it one more time. I'm going to quit the REPL here. I'm going to close that out, and I'm going to restart the app. I wish there was a way to spawn a fiber before the Fiber's server, sorry, the scheduler started. It's also possible to spawn the fiber on a specific scheduler, which is useful to ensure that fiber runs on a different kernel thread. Isn't 60 polls per second the magic number? Is it? 16 milliseconds, so 0.16. Let's try that. Let's go. I'm just going to run this one more time and just make sure that the REPL works. I hate ANSI term. Because I didn't run it again. I really need to fix that problem. That's super annoying. All right, the REPL is fine now. Proced, let's just see if that process is just like chewing up stuff or if it's fine. Yeah, Chromium is way worse. The Guile app is running at 9% CPU, which is higher than I would expect it to be. I think that I'll probably tune that some, put the sleep down lower, because if that's what's actually causing the loop. Hello to Ayush. All right. So let me just move back to what we should be doing here instead of playing around with things that are not super important, like setting up the REPL server. I might go back to the REPL server at the end of the stream after we got some other stuff done, but I mean, it just sort of came up as a thing to do. What we really need to do is get the SQLite 3 library started and to start implementing some of that behavior. I'm kind of thinking I might want to start breaking things into modules, but maybe I shouldn't do that just yet. Let's just start simple. And I might have to start over my explanation of the database task, since we did find that the Guile DBI library is not available for Guile 3. So I might have to cut that up a little bit and pretend that I have not talked about it yet, which is fine. Okay. Let me pull up this page here. I wish there was a dark mode for the site. There does not appear to be. Unless I just clone the repository locally so that I can look at the code and not have to blind everyone here. Trying to see if is there like an info file or anything here? No, apparently not. This website is so slow. Wow, that's pretty simple. Trying to understand what features this thing provides. Literally no documentation. Ah, was this written by Andy and then Ludo picked it up? Test code shows it all. Yeah. The test code definitely shows some things. For sure. All right, screw it. Probably should clone it locally, though. Let me just grab the repo link, because I don't want to look at this bright white page at all. Throwing some shade. To whom? Okay, so now we should be able to jump into that folder, temp. Yeah, that domain, that website is extremely slow. I don't know why. Okay. So today we're going to be using the Guile SQLite 3 library to interface with a SQLite 3 database for the purpose of adding normal CRUD or create, read, update, delete operations to the types in our emacsPackages.com project. Now, previously I was planning to use a library called Guile DBI, which would give us the ability to interface with multiple database backends like SQLite 3, PostgreSQL, or MySQL. The problem is that Guile DBI apparently is only supported on Guile 2.2 and not on Guile 3, which is what we were using for this project. We're using Guile 3. So for now, I'm just going to stick to using Guile SQLite 3, and we're not going to worry too much about hard coding into SQLite 3 for the moment. I mean, we could go through the whole process of trying to create some kind of layer in between where we can abstract out different database backends, but I'm not going to bother with that. As I've said before, I tend to try to go the simple way first and then later introduce abstractions if they're needed. Maybe we won't ever need PostgreSQL. Maybe we'll just be fine with SQLite 3. So let's just not waste time on introducing some layer that might not be necessary. So this library can be found on this website, which is incredibly slow. I'll just let you know, notabug.org. You can see the code here. I've got it cloned locally so we can take a look at it without having to click through on all the links. But it's a pretty simple library. The best way to take a look at how to use it appears to be a test file because there is no manual. So there's a set of unit tests that are used to exercise the behavior of this library. So what we'll try to do is just, at a basic level, learn how to use a library and then set up a SQLite 3 database for the purpose of our project. Let's see. So based on the simplest example here, there's a SQLite open procedure that returns some kind of database object. Looks like it may be a record type because it does have a predicate to determine whether it is an object or a value is an instance of that record type. You give it a database name, which is a file on the file system, and this looks like a set of flags for the permissions against the database, which is for create and read write, which probably we do want. So in fact, we could probably just copy and paste this line directly and then drop it into our own code. Now we also need to pull in the SQLite 3 library, it seems. So let me just go back into our main.scm file. SQLite 3, we're going to pull that library in. I've already put this into our manifest.scm file. So if you take a look at the manifest.scm file for geeks, it's a Guile-SQLite 3. So we've got that dependency there. And I don't know, I'll just drop it in here at the top, set db. And for now, emacsPackages.db, that's what I'm going to call it for now. Okay, so we should have a db. And then what do we want to do with it? Well, we need to create some things, but first of all, we need to think about what we're going to create. So I don't remember. Yeah, Kite says possible Guile CVEs don't worry you a little bit. I don't know which CVEs are we talking about right now. But yes, the patching process can be a little bit slow when it comes to Guile, but I don't know. Maybe that will improve, but I can't really say that it will or not. So as I was saying, it's been a while since I've done a lot of work with SQL, so I'm going to have to sort of relearn a little bit about queries and whatnot, but that'll be fun because we can all kind of learn it together, and the people who are in the chat right now could probably point out what I'm doing wrong, which is great. So let me just take a look in here in case there's anything in the basic test files. So insert. Okay, so we got an insert example here. Is there a create example? Create table foods. All right, cool. So let's just say we want to create a table. Let's take a look at what they're using. Okay, SQLite exec. So SQLite exec. I should probably just pull open a normal Geyser REPL for this. So let's just run Geyser so I can experiment a little bit and use SQLite 3. There we go. And I can execute this form, unbound variable DB. Oh, okay. So I haven't defined it yet. So let's define the DB. That's my mistake because I just copied and pasted code, which is always a good thing to do. Okay, so now I should have a DB object. I can check DB in the REPL. We do seem to have a SQLite DB here. SQLite exec DB. And if I go back to that example code, there's a create table, packages, DB ID integer primary key. Well, I think we would just have an ID, right? ID integer primary key. Whoops, how did that show up? Let's just split the window here so I can see both at the same time. All right. And then name, text. Okay, so that should create a table called packages. And it seems that it didn't fail because it returned unspecified. I don't know. Is there a way to check for errors? So let's see. And does this look like a transaction? Bind, step, finalize. Maybe that's it's sort of transaction-y. I can also try to run a select statement. So SQLite. Wait, hold on. There's prepare cache, prepare with caching, select, SQLite map. Identity statement. Okay, so they kind of give you the ability to do what you want with whatever the result set that comes back. I don't know why we have to finalize, though. What's finalize about? I can go check the actual test. Sorry, the actual code. So that seems to be something that's in the SQLite 3 library. There's an exec star. What's that do? Interesting. Is it in here? Oh, they had their own. Okay, so they've made their own helper procedure called SQLite exec star, which apparently runs a query. and then displays the statement. Anyway, okay. So we need to do a SQLite prepare on the query. And we're not going to get any results back from this. It makes sense that we wouldn't. So let's let here statement. All right. So I wonder what that does. Trev says, I'm here now. What energy drink are we consuming? That one. I need a sponsorship, Monster. Ultra, that's right. Okay, so we got statement here. We're going to close out that let. It seems to be the pattern that you have to use for queries, which is fine. I can sort of abstract this a little bit. Okay, so statement SQLite prepare DB, and then there is a SQLite map, which I'm guessing maps over the results that come back. So I'm just going to put display there. Statement. One of this kind of lets us. No such table package. Did I not just create it? Oh, packages. There we go. 0. Okay, so it returns a number of results back, it seems. SQLite finalize maybe returns results. We'll see once we actually insert something in there. So now we can try to insert a row. SQLite exec db insert into. Bryce says using SQLite prepare is like compiling regexes. So it's basically creating a stored query or something. But if you don't finalize your statements, they stick around forever and create resource leaks. So, okay, so maybe you can create some statements and hold on to them for a while, and then toward the end of your app, you can release them. I wonder if that's how it works. Okay, so insert into package values. Now, I don't like the fact that I'm having to give it the ID here. It seems like that should be auto-incrementing. So SQLite auto-increment primary key. Is that something that is possible? Integer primary key auto increment. So I probably should have created that table with the auto increment keyword on the row. That's okay. We'll just do it this way for now. So 1 and then vertico, let's just say. That should be enough, right? All right, so now I've got that, and if I run this block again, I can see 1 vertico. So we did get back a vector. This appears to be a vector that is being displayed. And for each thing that's coming back, I should be able to use a lambda here. Lambda row, vector ref, row 1. So let's see. Oh, I'm not displaying it. So let's see. Display. Let's do a little format instead. And a new line. Okay, package name Vertigo. So, not too bad. I mean, we've got a basic packages table. In just a few lines of code, basic packages table. Let me just make this lowercase, create table packages. And we're able to insert an item into it using insert into, and then we're able to use select here. So the important procedures so far are SQLite open for opening the database, SQLite exec for executing specific queries. And for things like select statements, it seems that they're using SQLite prepare to compile the query, let's say, and then SQLite map to run that query after it's been stored as a statement. Run that query and then map over the results that come back. So the entire result set, we run a lambda on each row that comes back, and then we call SQLite finalize to clean that up. Now, I think that probably we can hold on to some of these queries and not actually have to run finalize every single time. It seems a little bit overkill. I wonder if SQLite map takes a normal query string also as a parameter. Let's go take a look at the code base for that. So define SQLite map. Where is that actually defined? Map. Statement map. SQLite map. All right, so SQLite fold. Assert live statement. So it does want a statement, it seems. And then SQLite prepare. Prepare v2. Because it caches results, it seems. Based on the statement itself. Okay. Okay, we'll look into that a bit more later, I think. I don't really know like if we need to have the caching behavior or anything like that. So Brongulus says, what project are you working on? Yeah, we don't have an exclamation point project chat thing. We'll add stuff like that later. This is basically a Guile web application, web server, let's say, to provide an Emacs packages website. So let's see. Got another hour. I think we can make some progress now that we've got the basics working. So if I were to try to streamline this a little bit. Probably, okay, let's think about how I want to start this up. I want to do things really simply. So number one, if a database file does not exist, initialize the database. Recommended packages or a list of all packages from ELPA, MELPA. Yeah, basically both. The ability to get a listing of all packages and then see recommended configurations and also like which packages are used together most commonly, this sort of thing. So number one was if a database file does not exist, initialize the database. Number two is provide a simple set of procedures for working with the packages table. That's sort of what we want to do right now. So let me check what the procedure is in Guile. So Guile file exists. I think it might just be file exists. Let's see. Yeah, file exists question mark. So unless file exists Emacs packages.db, let me also say db file name Emacs packages.db. Just to be clean, db file name. All right. And Yeah, we'll set this up first, all right? I don't know if it creates it automatically, though. It'd be kind of interesting to know if it creates it automatically. So let's go back here. I'm going to delete this file. And then I'm going to run this db expression. Yeah, it does create it by default. So I need to know if it existed or not. So let's see. Define db file exists. All right, let me put this here as well. So then we set up the DB, and then we have this DB file exists. And then we start setting up the actual initialization. So we create tables. Here we can say something like define. I'm trying to think of the right terminology for this. We can say insert package for now. DB. And then package. Or how about this? Name. And that could be like this one here with a SQLite exec. Probably need to do some escaping. I don't know if we need to do any escaping here. I'm going to take this out too because we want to make this be an auto increment. Okay. We're going to have to set that up in a second. Let's do this too. I'm going to run this. DB file name. Okay, so. Hey, Minas Mezar. Okay. So let's see. I think I should probably set this false right now, though, because what I'm going to do is not going to work here. So set db file exists false. So I need to run this unless db file exists. And I can create the table. It should be set up now. And then we can have our insert package procedure, which I just evaluated. Go into the REPL, insert package, vertico. Let's see, wrong number of arguments. Oh, I need to pass the database, so let's do that. Let me just jump back a couple levels down in the error stack here. So put DB here as well. Throw the key, SQLite error with args. Table packages has 2 columns, but 1 values were supplied. So why is the auto increment making it required? Let's see. Thanks, Jadzi, for the details there. Okay, so you need to be specific about the field names. Let's try that. So here we're going to say name values. All right, so we're going to reevaluate that procedure, go over to the REPL, and then run that procedure one more time. And this time it seems to have worked. Next, we're going to put denote as a package, denote. Okay. And define query packages DB, which is not a good name. We'll come up with better terminology for this at some point. let me just do this real quick. And I'll say proc there also because we want to have a procedure to run on all of them. I will replace that with proc. Okay, so we've done that with query packages. Now query packages, DB, and then we got our little lambda here that I copied over. Execute that. It did not print out the name correctly, which is interesting. Package name. I wonder why it didn't. Let's do this instead. Display row or my mistake. I didn't format that. So both packages now have a name of ~a, which is fantastic. Format F, and we're going to put name in here. Okay. So we got to fix our insert package. So I think probably the best thing to do at this point would be to delete that file. Okay. Now we're going to recreate it. Maybe I should have a special procedure for initializing the database too. So I can just recreate it anytime I want. So actually I need to reopen it too. If I delete it, I need to reopen it. I would guess. Let's see though. How robust is this thing? Table packages already exist. It's probably in memory. Close DB. All right, so I close the database. Probably need to open it again. So let's just go back here and use Control-Alt-X. Trev says, do you have SQL mode? I probably should have it if I'm going to be using SQL databases. All right, so I created it again. I can go over into the other window, init db, and now it should have created those tables. Here, init db. Hey, Chris, nice to see you. Chris says, SQLite bind arguments is a good alternative to putting values in SQL statements. Okay, I'll have to take a look at that one. You can delete it from there. I think it's in 29. Yeah. That makes sense. That would be there. All right, so that's fine. This is getting a little bit messy here. We'll have to clean it up. So insert package. I should have that formatted correctly. Maybe I'll look at Chris's suggestion in a moment though, because this is not feeling real good. So insert package. Vertigo. Oh, I forgot the DB parameter, obviously. Get in there. Denote. Now if I go run the query, still seeing package name A. Give me a break. There's no way that's the case. Did I screw it up that bad? No. Oh. I didn't reevaluate the procedure. Going great, folks. Going real good. Gotta say. Let's do this again. I'm just going to run it directly. I don't care that the other two ugly ones are there. Okay, now Vertigo and Denote are showing up correctly. That's cool. Probably do need a way to quickly just like throw out the database and recreate it, but that could be dangerous to have in the code, I guess. All right, so Chris suggested SQLite bind arguments. Bind statement parameters one after another to args. Also bind named parameters to the respective ones. That sounds useful. Let's look in the basic.scm file. Statement one, my foo. I don't know what that does, but none of this seems like what I expected to be. String manipulation plus SQL equals SQL injection. Yes, thank you, Peter. I definitely don't want to do that. Okay. So statement and args. It would be really nice if there was actually documentation for this library. So match args. Keyword value rest. Loop I rest. Okay, so we're looping over all the arguments using a match expression to decompose. Arg rest SQLite bind. SQLite bind statement. Keyword to symbol, so they need to be keywords. So that's an example of using SQLite bind. Keyword to symbol, where was that in the basic code? So SQLite bind. Statement key value. Oh, okay, I see. So SQLite exec is doing that. And SQLite statement 1. Ah, okay, I see. 1 is the index. Arg is the index. Okay. 1 is arg. Myfoo. And the question mark must be where that's getting inserted. Chris says you'll have something like select star from packages where name equals colon name. SQLite bind arguments statement name. Thank you, Chris, for the suggestion. All right, so let me go back here and do it this way. So SQLite bind argument statement. All right, and I probably need to do a prepare on this one as well, I would guess. Oh, is it just for select though? Or can it be for anything? Let me see if prepare is being used. Okay, there's inserts. Cool. Insert into. Got it. Okay, insert into packages. Can be for anything, but yeah, SQLite prepare. Cool. Great. I am learning things. Awesome. Values. And what do we see there? That is... All right. So we prepared a statement. I put the wrong parenthesis in, which is great. SQLite bind arguments statement. Griff says, surprised there's no fancy macro for prepared statements. Maybe there will be, or maybe there is. Who knows? Name. And then SQLite step. I guess that's right. Because what does that do? Does it just initiate the query that is sort of being queued up without mapping over the results? All right, so let's try a new one then. Let's see if this works. Seems to have worked. If I go here to my query packages, I see Magit is in the list, so that's cool. Great, thanks Chris for the suggestion. That probably makes things a bit safer to do it that way. All right, so we got insert package working in a slightly non-crappy way. And we got a query packages procedure, which obviously is not super, I mean, it's a little bit cheesy at the moment because it doesn't do a whole lot, but that's fine. We'll just leave it like that for now. Okay, so we got listing and creating, reading a specific package. let's think about this for a second. Obviously, you could say like package ID, but probably you would want to read packages based on some other piece of information, but maybe that's a query that you do first. So read package, I think we're going to do the same thing, right? So SQL select by ID, because I don't remember how to do this. Select star by, okay, where clause, got it. So select star from table. Probably something like that, right? The SQLite map. Is there a way to get like the first result back? Or are we just assuming that map fold? Okay. Thanks, Chris. SQLite step will get result rows one at a time. So if I were to use the step here, let's see, step statement, and that would be the result. I would have to store the result of that though. So we might need another let here, or which, you know, obviously is not the greatest thing to do in the world, but whatever. SQLite finalize statement. Yeah, that needs to be fixed. Okay. So if I read package, what do we see? Oh, let's see, read package DB3. Okay, so that gives us back the Vertigo item from the database. Cool, so we were reading by ID. Chris says, match is great for this since you can unpack the vector plus handle SQLite step returning false. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And I probably do need that as well because I need a way to translate this into a record type. Because I have this record type here for package, ID, name, and source. So I'm not including source yet. That's okay. So for reading a package, I probably do want to return that correctly. So let's use a match for that. Now, guile match vector. Okay, so if you use the hash, cool. So hash ID name. I think that should work, right? No, that's the hash on the outside. Like that. Make package. I guess make package, isn't it? Make package, yep. ID, name, and then I'm just gonna put an empty thing here. Just like put ELPA for now. I don't know. And then if it's false, then I don't know. Return false for now. Match, make package ID name. All right, cool. I need to go and pull in ICE9 match. Okay, so we reevaluated that. And then reevaluated that. Still doesn't like it, huh? That doesn't make sense. Okay, let's just do it in the REPL here, because who knows? Use ICE9 match. Okay. Unbound variable. I did not eval the record type yet. Find record type. Fantastic. So that was Surfy what? Surfy 9. Okay, so now we got that. And then I should be able to go back and eval repackage. Oh, sorry. Yeah, repackage again. And then run read package db3 one more time over in the REPL. Cool. Got a record type now. Package ID 3, name Vertigo, source ELPA. So that is a very, very basic layer on top of the database, translating from a row in the database to a record type. Kind of did that in a weird order. The previous video, which I haven't published as of this moment, but probably if you're watching this as a video on the channel, you will see this in another video before. We set up a record type for packages. So we've already done that work. In fact, I should probably just move this up above everything else. We're going to move all this into separate files soon. This is kind of dirty. Like, it really shouldn't be like this, but you know, let's just deal with it for now. Okay, so we got package, the record type. We've got something for inserting packages, querying packages, the list of packages. Or maybe I should call that list packages, you know, and not query packages, at least for now. I don't know. What do you think? Because we're not really using any query strings at the moment. So list package, repackage. We could also delete a package. Bang, db, package ID. Similarly, let's see, let statement. I mean, do we really want to go this far, I guess? We could do a normal exec, but maybe it's better just to be safe. Foster says query has different connotations. Yeah, I agree. It's delete, right? So SQL delete. Delete statement. And it has a where clause. Delete from packages where ID equals ID. Yes, there we go, finally. And then SQLite bind arguments. This is going to get really repetitive. Okay, so I can delete package db0. Unbound variables SQLite bind arguments. All right, so that should be deleted now. If I go back and run this query packages here, I should see that. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I should do this as well. Package 1 name. Okay, so we did get rid of package 0. Let's delete package 1 and 2 because they're gross. All right, so now if I go reeval this, we should just see that it's 3, 4, 5. All right, cool. So we got dropping packages working as well. We can delete those rows. Let's see, update a package. Well, let's see. For an individual package, what would I want to set? We could change the name. But maybe we want something different. Like, let's say you need to update the URL where the package, like the source of the package comes from. But for now, we could just do a simple example just to get it going. Because I don't want to do like a generic update where you can just change any fields you want. I think that we should focus, at least for now, on specific changes that would need to be made. So like define, set, package name, db package name. Now this seems a little bit weird, I know. But we kind of want to do two things at once. you want to change the record instance, and you also want to change the row in the database at the same time, because you don't want to do that. I don't know what. Oh, yeah. You don't want to do that sorry, you don't want to have to do that manually yourself in multiple places if you're just like kind of using this as an API in the code. SQL update. Update statement. All right, so update table set. Okay. Update packages set name equals name where ID equals ID. Okay. Making some progress here. We're gonna have to copy this as well. So we're gonna use package name here. We're gonna use package dash ID. Ooh, I just realized now that we're overshadowing package ID in some of these procedures. That's okay though. Package ID, package, SQLite, bind, arguments, statement, ID. Sorry, name is name. What did I copy there? Okay, let's just undo that. I'll put this ahead. I don't know if they need to be in the same order, but let's just do it that way. And then let's also change the record type definition for, yeah, okay. So we don't have a set here. We would probably do something like this. Is it percent underscore? I don't know. Like what's the right thing for like a private variable in Scheme? Set package name, because we don't want this to be exposed necessarily to outside the module, let's say. So if this is like, excuse me, there's a package module, we don't want to expose underscore set package name, because that is what enables you to set the field of the package record type. We want to expose a higher level set package name that uses the lower level one, set package name, so that the database update also happens at the same time. Okay, so possibly unbound variable, SQLite bind, I did it again. Well, I think also I don't need to do multiple calls to this at the same time. I think I can do one call and then have multiple bindings in it. Yeah. Okay, so got that. I need to reevaluate the record definition to get the new setter. And now I can evaluate set package name. So that seems to have evaluated okay. So if I were to define pkg read package db3 package. Okay, so this is the Vertigo package. Now I can say set package name db pkg Vertigo 2. I don't know. And now if I go query all packages, well, actually, let's first check pkg. Okay, it says Vertigo 2. It's set in the record. Now if I go query all packages, we should be able to see that the row is set to Vertigo 2. And now it's Vertigo 2. So now we've got sort of a layer on top. We can do that operation of setting the package name. And it happens in both places at the same time. Okay? So that's fine. I mean, that's a pretty basic CRUD operation set, create, read, update, delete for this package's type. So, I'm pretty happy with that. I think that works. Let's comment these out for now. In fact, let's get rid of, let's get rid of this. Get out of here. Let's get rid of this one. We could wire this up into the page that we have, because now that we have the ability to read things from the database. In fact, I think what we should do here for list packages is return record types. So we can do that as well. So match lambda, and then we'll just do the same extraction we're already doing on ID and name, and then make package ID name ELPA just to say something. Okay, So list packages now should return everything. If I were to go into the REPL and type in list packages db, oh, that's my mistake. So don't do that. I want to copy this first, put it back the way I had it. Yeah, that's the way I want it. Reevaluate that, and then go back to the query packages example that I have, or at least list packages is what it's called now, db. And run that. Okay, so unbound variable list package is list packages, fine. And I'm not printing them, so display the result of that. Unspecified, I didn't return it. Okay, so I need to store the result of list packages. So I'll also do the same thing here where I have a blank result variable. Actually, in this case, I can just store that directly, I think, without having to do an extra level. There we go. Now I can go back down to the list packages that I'm calling. Package 3, Vertigo 2, 4, denote 5, Magid. Okay, good. So that does work. All right. I'll take that out. I'll also delete that. And then package index. So packages index. Here I can say let package index list packages. Okay, so now I've got a package index variable. Let me just go here and try to indent all that code. So now for packages index, I should be able to list that page. And if I go into, let me reevaluate that. Oh, I probably should just restart the server. So I'm actually not running the server at the moment, I think. No, not that. Package listing, cool. So we have the list of the actual packages that are coming from the database. These links won't work right now because it's still like the bogus information that's in the fake content that I had created. So I have created a package, package index right here. So I'll take that out temporarily. What I need is a way to, well, I already have that, the repackage information, but it's a little bit silly. I mean, one thing that might be worthwhile on list packages is to have like a list of fields to pull in. So we want to select only certain fields, but that can be done later. And the reason why I say that is because read package now is going to do the same query again for a specific object ID, but maybe that's not so bad. So package index, package by ID. So we don't need that now. So where's package by ID being used right here? So read package DB. All right, so packages detail under page build response. Let's go back here and restart the server. And now if I click Vertigo 2, okay, details for Vertigo 2. So it is loading that from the database, and I can test that by saying packages 5, and we see that's the Magid package. So it does seem to be working. Sorry, my other computer just decided it wanted to log out. So yeah, I think that the package listing and details pages are working the way we expect them to, which is great. I'm trying to think of what else we should do. We've got about 25 minutes left in the stream. Hey, Speedos. Speedo says, I saw you're live, and for a second I was very happy that it's Friday afternoon. No, it's definitely not Friday afternoon. Unfortunately, it is Monday morning. So we're all somewhat unhappy about that, I guess. Okay, so basic CRUD, or at least at the layer of the database, is working. Chris raises an interesting point, saying there's a whole can of worms about doing SQLite stuff with Guile Fiber since SQLite doesn't suspend on I/O. That's not so good. Is it because we're calling directly into the C library interface and we can't have it do the necessary I/O calls that would enable fibers to do its scheduling? Because that does make sense if that's the case. I guess the alternative is to push the database operations off to a separate thread that is managed by fibers and let it so that the web request handling thread or threads can still do what they need to do, regardless of whether the SQLite I/O is blocked. Kite says, what are you using for the HTTP request? Just Guile's HTTP module. I'm using the fibers version of HTTP. Chris says, and Guile can't suspend around the calls out to the C library. Yes, unfortunate. That is quite unfortunate. So I'm just trying to think of like what would be the best thing to do to cap off the stream. Like how can we roll this into something that is sort of a worthwhile completion to the steps of what we've been taking today. There's two options in my mind. One is either to make it so that we can respond to a post request to change the detail in one of these rows, which is not necessarily the it doesn't bring us closer to an actual feature because it's sort of just speculative. Because right now I can't think of something that a user should be able to change about a package. The other thing would be to try to put this stuff into modules. And anytime you start bringing modules into the game, it certainly makes interactive development a little bit more difficult just because you have to worry about switching to modules, but Geyser kind of takes care of that. So maybe it would be good to clean up the code a little bit so that it's not so gross. Also, starting a Guile for the project is a little bit more complicated because you have to set the load path, but that's also not a huge problem. Okay. Maybe cleaning up the code would probably be the best thing. We can also rethink some of these procedure names as well because I already hate them. So I don't know if it's the right approach to stick with some of these. Trev says, should we delete it all and rewrite it in ... No, we're not going to rewrite it right now. Come on. That would be silly. Okay, so I think the best way to finish off today for what we have done so far is to try to move the existing code we have here that we wrote into modules. So for instance, we've got a main.scm file here. Trying to think of like what the top level namespace should be. I could just say site slash, but it seems a little bit cheesy to do that. But I'm not going to type Emacs packages, you know, because it's too long. let's go with site for now. Okay, so site slash models slash package.scm, because you usually call it model. Call them models. Okay, so define module site models package. Then we're going to pull in some stuff that we need. We're going to need Surfy 9. We're going to need Ice 9 match for sure. We won't need the SXML stuff, so we're just going to drop that here. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and start copying some things in. So, so the database stuff will have to go in a different library. I think we're going to have to make a separate database library that can hold on to some of these things for us. I'm sort of rationalizing it internally at the same time. All right, so let's just take the package stuff out for now. Repackage, delete package, set package name. So all that stuff can go in its own library, its own module, let's say. All the SQLite stuff. So we need to put SQLite in here as well because we're calling it SQLite. It's not very good encapsulation at the moment because we're calling SQLite from within here, which is not the best thing to do. Maybe we should think about, I know I said no abstraction layers, but maybe some is better than none whenever you start, writing independent modules. We can start with this. We also need to set up some exports here. So export package ID, package name, package source, set package name, list packages, insert package, read package, and delete package. Those all need to be exported so that they can be used from another module. Okay, that all seems good. So delete, read. So list, let's just put insert down here somewhere. Shazi says, recently I started loving plain file module structures, so but might be better to introduce deep nesting at the beginning. That's, in my opinion, better not to. I don't know. I kind of like to have a little bit of structure, but yeah. Definitely is a matter of personal preference in some ways. Okay, so we've got this module. Let's make sure we can actually use it. So we're going to pop up here to the top level. And what did I say? Site models package. We're gonna just put this in here. And we have a couple places where it's being used currently. Whoa. So we have like the package index here is calling list packages and also the reading the specific package information. So I think if we were just to restart the server, we'd be able to tell pretty fast whether it's being used correctly. So I need to put a -L here to add the source path as part of the load path. Let's see. Make package. All right, so make package is another one. So where is that being called in main? Make package. Packages index. Okay. So let's go into package.scm. We also need to have make package as one of the exports. Make package. We'll go restart the server. Okay, that seems happier this time. We should be able to reload this page, and we got a crash. Let's see, where is it? So it is getting the data back. So in packages index, when calling list packages, Wrong type to apply. Syntax transformer make package. Make package. ID, name, source. Huh. Oh. Hmm. Okay. Interesting. The fact that it's saying syntax transformer makes me think that it's getting confused in the match expression somewhere. And I'm not sure why. Because I have another match that's being used elsewhere that uses the same syntax. Yeah, like a guile issue with macros. Yeah, I don't know why all of a sudden it's a problem. But it has to be inside of the match lambda. Like it thinks make package is supposed to. Oh, really? You think it's a cache? All right, let's do another thing that I know to do. Let's see, what is it? Guile help. Fresh autocompile. Let's try that. Oh, there it is. Thanks, Chris. So it was the result of an out-of-date local compilation cache for Guile. But now I think we've got our packages module set up correctly to where we can pull it in as a module and then use it correctly. So that's good. Now we can start breaking our code up into various folders that is a bit more amenable to long-term maintenance and addition of features, which is good. So we have the site folder, which is kind of like the top level. And then we have models, which would be the place where we put all the models. So other models we'll be adding at some point, or like the user model, maybe tips, like package tips. There's some other things we mentioned before. If you haven't seen those, you can check them out in the README. I think I had started speccing out some of the stuff that we needed for this. So the conceptual model, like we have package, package tips, users, people who use specific packages, is sort of some tables that connect those together. So we'll look into that another time, I think. But I think we did pretty good. I mean, I think that for now, at least we have a basic SQLite 3 database set up that we can use as a basis for going forward to implement some of the actual behavior of the website. Trying to think of what we'll do the next time. One of the things I wanted to do this time, which we didn't really get to, is do the work of scraping the ELPA and MELPA package repositories to get the package information out of those. Since Emacs calls those sites directly to refresh the package repositories, there must be an endpoint that you can hit. So we can use the web client library and Guile to hit the same endpoint, gather the information, which is probably in XML format. We could probably use the SXML library to turn that to S expressions and process it in a reasonable way. And once we have that information, we can use that to populate our database and have start to build out the actual index of packages that a person would go to this website to look at. So that would make it become more like a real app with real information. Then we can start, putting together the real features that will make it useful, as well as making the site look like a real website and not just black and white text, or sorry, black text on a white background. So yeah, hopefully there's something useful in here today. Like maybe there's a lot of stumbling, but that's sort of the case with live coding, especially whenever you haven't done database stuff in a while. I appreciate Chris's input because there's a lot of stuff I didn't know about with the SQLite 3 library. So thanks, Chris, for the input on that. But hopefully I'm able to cut together a video based on what we went through that actually is coherent and makes sense. I'll have to work on the flow for that a little bit, like sort of how I point out what I'm doing and describe it in real time. Because if you weren't here earlier, what I was saying is that I'm trying to like actually make videos for the channel out of these streams. So part of what we did today by going through using the SQLite 3 library is to learn how to use it and describe how to use it in a video, or well, more like show through the experience of using it how to use it. So I think it might be useful for that. We'll see. Trying to think if there's anything else worth talking about before we get out of here today. I think we should be able to make pretty fast progress, though. Let's see. ECYRB. Bryce. Okay, hello, Bryce. What are you going to do about the Fibers/SQLite interaction that Chris mentioned? I don't know. Sounds like that's something that isn't necessarily easy to manage. So, like, what is really the impact of that? Let's think. I mean, you lose some of the concurrency aspects because if you're waiting on the database to come back, let's say you're doing a query that needs to return 10,000 rows. While the I/O is happening through the SQLite 3 library for that to come back, you cannot concurrently handle other requests unless you have the fibers being split across to the other threads. Chris says in the YouTube chat, it should be pretty easy to do the SQLite stuff in a non-Fibers thread, then interact with that over a Fibers channel. Yeah, that would probably be a way to do that. You can effectively serialize queries, but how messy does that become? Maybe it's not that bad. Bryce says, yes, Chris, that's what I do for logging. So yeah, okay, so really, are you using some kind of like native logging library or something? Seems like, little Bobby table. What do you mean, Anders? Foster says attack vector. In what sense? You mean in terms of overloading the the database thread? Simple stuff that I haven't converted to non-blocking. Okay, it makes sense. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. I mean, the Gaia libraries are, yeah, if you knew the DB calls of serial, yeah. I guess you need a pool of DB threads, which maybe that's what people do anyway, but a little pool of DB workers running around. Okay, let me see if I can write some stuff down maybe for next time. Sign requirements, excuse me. Tasks, let's see. Scrape ELPA and MELPA package repositories to populate package DB. Offload database access to a separate thread. Communicate via channels to help with concurrency. Well, to help with concurrent request handling. That's sort of the problem. It's like if you're blocking on DB calls directly in a web request handler, then the scheduler can't your line of execution won't sleep, such that the scheduler could then go handle another request. So that's sort of the problem. And what else was I thinking? We also need to integrate the CSS generation code that was written in another stream to craft the site's style sheet. And also, one thing I would like to do at some point soon, write an initial Geek server configuration for the site, run it in a local container, just to get that process started, because we want to have an Nginx front end that goes in front of the site itself to do SSL termination and Let's Encrypt, among other things. So it would be good to get that set up. Oops, Nginx, Let's Encrypt. What else? Design the actual user-facing features. Account creation, linking, user configuration, possibly scanning. Because we were talking before about cloning the user's configuration and scanning over it to see what packages they use. It'd be pretty interesting too if we could find use package blocks for someone's configuration and have those be referenced as configuration examples for a given package. Now, that doesn't work for everything, because it would have to be, you would also want to support configs that don't use package, but then you don't really know like what the boundaries are for the configuration of a particular package. So that could be problematic. Anyway, I think that's enough for today. I think that we made some progress toward the project and learned some stuff, so that's pretty cool. Anders says, could also use Llama to load user setup and extract information. It would certainly be interesting to use a local LLM to do something for this. However, I don't really know if I would trust it completely. And to run an LLM and have it be useful, you need a lot of memory, a lot of RAM. So it might not be good on a VM. See you, Foskers. Thanks for joining, man. Appreciate it. All right. So that's it for this day, for this day's stream. It went well, as you can tell. We'll be back on Wednesday around the same time to do the same thing over again. We're going to try to walk through some of these to-do items and see what other progress we can make. Hopefully this was interesting to you. If you've watched it all the way through, like if you actually sat down and watched the recording of the stream, kudos to you. I don't really expect people to do that, but leave a note in the comments. Let me know that you did, if you did. Obviously, if you're here right now watching the stream, thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate you sticking around with me, asking questions, providing suggestions. Once again, thanks a lot to Chris and to Bryce for their suggestions. Uh-oh. Did I lose the stream already? No, I think this is what's his face complaining. And yeah, thank you for being here, Kites. Appreciate it. And yeah, hope you all have a great day. See you back here on Wednesday potentially. And until next time, happy hacking. We'll see you.